Hello everyone, great to have you on the show. This is your forwards and I am Mr. Adolf, the teacher. Let's take a look at the green board. In the classwork, there will be almost a book review as usual, and we will do preface to the topic of the show. For your examination, we'll be looking at teaching practicum, after which comes grading and the assignment. So let's see what's happening recently in the education sector. It's no longer news that President Muhammadu Buhari has received the attestation and confirmation of his 1961 West African School Certificate examination from the West African Examination Council. Now, he said it would be very impossible for me to have attended the Defense Service Staff College in the year 1973 and thereafter United States Army War College as a Nigerian military officer if I didn't sit for WAEC examination in 1961. Buhari recounted that during his secondary school days, it was very difficult to commit examination fraud, though it was thriving that period. He said his colleagues with him spent 9 years in boarding school, both in primary and secondary school. He included the name of General Musa Yar'Adua as one of his colleagues then. That is a little evidence for you guys. So he said they planned together to join the Nigerian military. And there was no way you could join the Nigerian military without passing English, mathematics, and general knowledge. English, of course, he said, was the general language of instruction at the period, even up till now. So on the other hand, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has started the indefinite strike action over non-implementation of the Memorandum of Action. This action was signed with the federal government of Nigeria, and as it is, federal government of Nigeria has not fulfilled their pact. The strike action began immediately yesterday. According to Biodun Ogunyemi, professor, he said the action would cover federal and state-owned universities. Professor Ogunyemi, who briefed the media after the National Executive Council of the ASU last night in Akure, the Ondo State capital, said all entreaties made to the federal government of Nigeria to honor the agreement with the union fell on deaf ears, and they have no other option than to begin an indefinite strike action. When we return after the short break, we'll be doing what's almost a book review, and this time it's Paula Hawkins. Don't go, we'll be right back. All right, so let me take you into the water. All right, the book is Into the Water. Allow me to take you into this water right now, written by Paula Hawkins. The central character, Jules Abbott, the heroine of bestseller Hawkins' twisty second psychological thriller, vowed never to return to the sleepy English town of Beckford. After an incident when she was a teenager drove a wedge between her and her older sister called Nell. But now, Nell, the older sister, becomes a writer and photographer. In the latest string of women found dead in a part of the local river known as the Drowning Pool, Nell put it, Beckford is not a suicide spot. Beckford is a place to get rid of troublesome women. That is her opinion. Before Nell's death, the best friend of her rude 15-year-old daughter, Lena, drowned herself as well, an act that had a profound effect on both Nell and Lena. Beckford history is dripping with women who've thrown themselves off the cliff into that river. And the river, remember I said it's called Drowning Pool, and everyone from the police detective, plagued by his own demon, working the case to new cop in town with something to prove, knows more than they are letting on. Hawkins, the writer of The Girl on the Train, may be juggling a few too many storylines for comfort, but the payoff pack is a satisfying one that releases this heavy punch about women who no one knows if they are committing suicide or someone was taking their lives using the excuse of drowning pool. The book was released in February 2017. It has all excitement wrapped up in 544 pages. So that is it with book review, a book titled Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. Now, preface to the topic at hand, teaching practicum. Teaching practice or teaching practicum, as fondly called by education experts. This practice covers a major aspect in the teacher education program. It is an integral part of teacher education and training geared towards preparation of new entities into the teaching profession. To better assess the teaching practicum, I'm now being joined by a professionally trained teacher from University of City University Lagos. Currently City University Lagos. That was Yabatek. Akpabio John, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So let's look at the points where you began your teaching practice. You were deployed to a particular school. What was the school?
Okay, I was, actually you have to choose a school. You choose like 3-4 schools, then the coordinator will now look at it and deploy you to a school that is more or less closer to where you stay.
For what reason?
Maybe for convenience, maybe they just needed you to be in school all the time because, you know, when you're in the school, your supervisor, 2 or 3 will be added to you to help you and to check on you, to assess you and all that. So being very, very close to where you stay, they know that you will not spend much to get to the school every day, and they want to make sure that you're in school all the time. So I was deployed to a school that was closer to me, Ayinke Primary School, a government school.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's, being a teacher, first and foremost, you would go through the normal trainings, the classroom trainings yourself, and then the orientation would come on before the deployment.
Yeah.
How were the things that were said to you during the orientation period?
Okay, a lot was said, but I'll try to make it more concise. We do have a class which is called this micro-teaching in school. So that is where they take time to put you through everything you need to know. You get? So they will give you a lot of drills, you know. You will get first-hand knowledge of how to use all the teaching methods. There's a lot of teaching methods. Lecture teaching method, dramatization, discussion, demonstration, discovery, and so on and so forth. So in this micro-teaching, you and the teacher, he will be watching, he or she will be watching while you will come out in front of the class and try to, you understand, do all this stuff they've been teaching you over the years. Like how good have you been? How can you deliver the subject matter? So when they now see that, then they now send you to the school where you're going to teach.
Does that carry any mark, any sort of mark?
Yes, it does. It does. You have to pass that for you to go for the
that's
teaching.
micro teaching, like you said. Yeah. You need to do that in front of the class, and that is possibly your colleagues.
Yeah, colleagues.
Not exactly the pupils that you will be meeting during your teaching practicum. How would you evaluate a student who is doing teaching practice in front of his colleagues, knowing that it's a different story? Because what you're saying now is you're going to be meeting a different story, a different field when you go into your area of teaching practicum. Isn't that true?
Yes, it's true.
How would one evaluate you from that period?
First of all, what they want you to know or what they want you to be able to perfect is the art, how you carry yourself, how you deliver. Those are the things that they look for first. Knowing the subject matter will come later on. Knowing what to teach will come later on. But first of all, they need to give you a background knowledge, a foundational knowledge on what the kind of character, the kind of attitude, the kind of conduct you should have. So when they see you in front of your own colleagues teaching them, they would be able to see those traits that, okay, with this little that you've done here, you can be able to accommodate or manage the learners out there. So it's a very good heads up to help you when you get out there. So they'll now know that they are confident that when you get out there, the only issue you'll be having is basically maybe class management and how to deliver your topics, your subjects.
Class management, speaking on that, what number of pupils did you meet in the class when you got to Ayinke Primary School?
Because my classroom teacher was quite nice when I went in, so she gave me a class of about 50.
50?
But it got much after a while, they now had to add, it's a government school, we had a lot of students, so they now had to combine 2 classes again later on. But
2 classes,
I started
that number
50.
would be getting to 80, 100.
100 and something.
Is that normal?
It is not normal.
Were you told during the orientation period, during the micro-teaching, that you'll be meeting such challenges?
No, I wasn't.
How prepared were you?
Well, with that number, I was laid aback. I was not prepared for it. But with all the knowledge I've gathered during my time in teaching practice and how to coordinate the class, and a lot of help from the class teacher, I was able to coordinate the class very favorably.
Okay, let's talk about the teaching aid.
Okay.
You were exposed to several teaching aids, several methods in classroom management and classroom handling. How did you improvise with your teaching aids, especially the ones that are not readily available in the school?
Okay. Most of teaching aids in government schools are limited. Teaching materials, instructional materials are very, very limited. It's either you build it, you develop it, or you just teach with, you try to act it. You use maybe a playway method, or you use a storytelling method. You understand? You use a method that would not require you to show the student what exactly you're teaching. So you try to describe. You try to do a method of maybe simulation, you understand? Because basically those aids are not so available.
Okay, from your experience, knowing that there is no method that is better than the other, and all of them are required in teaching and learning processes.
True.
How would you say leaving one for the other because it's not available or there is nothing you can do about it? How can you understand the level of achievements with your pupils?
Okay, I would not say you leave one for another. There's a way you can do it. There's always a way to mix it all up. You understand? There's a method they call eclectic method, whereby you add 2 or 3 kind of teaching method together to help you, because a learner is always dynamic.
Okay.
A learner is always dynamic. This you must understand very, very well, and you know that some students, when you're using a lecture method, some students might not be following up. Do you get? So you need to add something else. So using an eclectic method has made, that was what I used basically, because from the beginning of a class, I would try to discuss, explain, and I would give a lot of room for question and answer, and also I would try to make sure they communicate back. And I give them tasks in groups too. That has really helped. So leaving one method, you would not really evaluate properly the capacity of a learner. But when you add all together, you'll be able to understand, okay, this particular people cannot really communicate, but can write very well. This particular student cannot really write very well, but can communicate. You'll be able to balance it up.
All right. So when we come back after the break, we'll try to understand you from the point where you are the teacher being supervised, especially when the supervisor is in class to monitor what you're doing in the classroom.
Okay.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still with me is Akpabio John. Akpabio,
Yeah.
you are a teacher during the teaching practicum, yet you're a student.
Yeah.
Because your supervisor, who is your lecturer at the period, would come in to supervise, monitor,
Yeah.
and score.
Yeah.
What were the problems that, I don't know, I wouldn't ask you what your score was, but you know your limitations.
Okay.
What were the problems that you faced that could have, bring your scores down?
Okay. Before I answer the question, I would like to say your supervisor, in some schools, 2 or 3, they might not really be your lecturer. You might not have even seen them before. It might just be a professor from somewhere, someplace, and he just comes to supervise you. So they're always very strict. You get. So it might not really be somebody you know, because you might think it's somebody you know, and you might think it's somebody you're going to be comfortable with when he's supervising you at the back of your class while you're teaching. Do you understand? So first of all, it might be somebody you don't know. Now, there were a lot of problems. I had a lot of issue with managing the class, but I got over that in time. How did I do this? I started knowing the names of the students. I started relating with them in a more cordial way, and I was firm too. You understand? And it got to a time that when my supervisor was even coming, they already know the supervisor, and they would just say, Uncle John, the supervisor is here. And, it was fun, but starting off was very, very tasky. Now, the problem I also faced was I had a lot of students that were, you get, laid back, you understand, in learning. They didn't want to put a lot of effort into it. So I was doing so much talking, even I was taking a lot of time normally than the normal time that was the normal 45 minutes that was situated for a particular class. You understand? So
If you're taking a lot of time, beyond 45 minutes stipulated, you are going beyond the law in teaching.
Yes, I was at that particular time, and it really told on the class. But in the long run, I was able to cope it. Do you get? But I just had to impart what I needed to impart. But the noise, there was so much noise, and there was so much disconcentration in the class. You understand? I was virtually applying all this method, and I was getting, you understand, a negative feedback from the student I was saying. I'm talking about right now. Do you get? So I had to take time with a lot of coordination from my classroom teacher to really go through all this level. But when it got to the time the supervisor was around, because I made them understand that I am going to be having supervisors around. Do you get? I created a cordial relationship with the learners, and I made them understand that
they had to cooperate
that
with
they
you.
had to cooperate with me, and that I am a student teacher. I made them understand word for word that I am a student teacher, and they have to listen. Sometimes they get a little bit wild, but I explained, and it gets to a time that sometimes even after the bell has rung, I'll still sit them down and I'll still give them like a pep talk. So that really helped me. I was more communicative. I was somebody they could talk to. So that made them listen to me more, and that gave me a lot of control and firmness over the class.
All right. At the point of your teaching practice, did you by any way think that this profession was for you, that you would come back to become a professional teacher?
Yeah, I love teaching right from
What are you doing in the media presently if you love teaching?
in the media. I still teach even in the media. Photography, videography, I still teach. I still have some people that I still teach on how to do these things. So I look at it that teaching is not limited to a particular profession.
Okay.
Do you get? It's wide. You can still teach wherever you are. Even on your daily process of living, you learn and you teach. You might stay in a particular situation and you're talking and somebody is learning something. You are teaching.
So the income and other benefits from teaching profession didn't derail you at all. Are you saying you moved away from the normal classroom teacher profession into media teaching or whatever you call it because of money or not because of money?
I am still a teacher. One shouldn't look at money to do anything. I am still a teacher, and I didn't look at money. Let's not talk about.
If you get the offer
Yes,
to
yes.
teach in government school, would you take it?
Yes, I would.
All right.
I would.
We will do a grading. It's normal on this show. We will do a grading. So for our grading, we have A, C, and F. A is for excellent, C is for fair, and F is for terrible.
Okay.
So for teaching practicum, for people like you who drifted from the classroom professional teacher
Okay.
into some kind of professional teacher out there with a lot of glamour, how would you grade them? A, C, F. Let me begin with you.
Oh. I don't know.
Because we have shortage of teachers right now.
Yes, I know that.
You could have been a plus to the teaching profession. How would you grade your type?
My type. If I say A,
It's democracy.
A.
Okay. How would you grade the government schools, especially with the fact that there are no available teaching instructional aids to help the teachers, the student teachers, and enough staff to coordinate the environment? How would you grade the government, both state and federal?
Both state and federal. I would say C.
A C.
Yeah, because in Lagos where we are, Governor Fashola has really done a lot to really help out the educational sector.
The present governor, what?
No, the former governor.
The
Governor
former governor.
Fashola.
Are you saying the present governor?
The present governor, I haven't really seen much that he has done on education, but the former governor really did quite a very, very, very massive breakout in that sector by building all these standard schools that you see. That's a heads up. That is something. A school that could accommodate a lot of students. He knows that the capacity available was not enough, so he built these massive structures for learners, and I look at it as
and
a
that's
heads up.
3% out of 100
Mm,
generally in Nigeria.
we could say that,
possibly other infrastructures are going on in other states
Yeah.
and federal governments. I know they are doing their best, but it's not enough.
It's not enough, so I give them a C.
All right. So thank you so much, John Akpabio, for being on the show.
Thank
It's
you for
wonderful
having
having you. For the assignment, like I said, you go to Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and share your opinion. Should teaching practice duration be elongated more than 3 months that it usually is in Nigeria? Should teaching practice be elongated, the duration be elongated for beyond 3 months in Nigeria? So share your view on that. as we receive that and give our own feedback to you. It's wonderful having you on this show, and this is Four Walls, where we discuss everything in the education sector in Nigeria. Until we see you next time, God bless you and bye.